Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. In today's video, we're going to be talking about fighting game glitches. Even the greatest of games, sometimes something can go wrong. Sometimes it can be funny and mostly harmless. Where did Dalsum go? Great mystery of the universe. Other times it can still be pretty funny and make the game not work in expected ways. And, maybe give infinite combos, like, hey, it happens, right? Basically, a lot of our classic fighting games are a little glitchy, and in this video, I want to highlight some of the greatest glitches there is. So that said here, let's start with a true classic. So let's go to the original Street Fighter 2, and let's talk about Guile. Guile is, as you can see, a very glitchy boy in Street Fighter 2. Got his fair share of issues, but there's one that's particularly infamous. That being what's known as the handcuff glitch, where, well, as you can see, some stuff's going on. Basically, Guile can throw you, and then instead of the throw completing, you're just chained to him. And that's it, you're stuck to him, there's no way out, the opponent just kind of has to like it. It is a potentially game over scenario, and as you can see, he'll drag you wherever he's going. And that's kind of it. That's game over, to the point, actually, that when time runs out, the game won't stop. Like, Guile will be stuck in his, position for, time up. That's it. The other guy's still stuck. The round persists. As you can see here in the Chun-Li stage, the chicken's still dancing around. People are still on their bicycles. Life moves on, except for Guile and E Honda, who are stuck in temporal hell forever. And how do you do this? It's actually dirt simple. Just charge down like you would for a flash kick, hit forward and medium punch for the throw, and then just hit up and your kick for flash kick. And if you do it all fast enough in order, then this happens. There's actually even a much more extreme version of this glitch where it's not just locking the character. How about we just kill the game? Yes, sir. I didn't just flash to black. That's not an editing trick. The game itself rebooted on attempting that throw. Suffice it to say, that's a pretty powerful technique that you can throw someone so hard the game has to restart. And how do we do this one? Basically the same method as before, just hit forward and fierce punch and then up flash kick. So charge down, forward fierce punch, up kick for the flash kick, and then you reset the game. So this whole concept here of the handcuffs glitch, not a bad glitch. In fact, it would later on be immortalized in another game. In Street Fighter, the movie, the game, which is infamous in its own way as well, Guile, as portrayed by Jean-Claude Van Damme, can put you in handcuffs, and it basically freezes you in place, gives you a free combo, almost like a Sub-Zero freeze, right? So the handcuff glitch lives on and is immortal in many ways. Now, moving on to the realm of Virtua Fighter, we're talking Virtua Fighter 3, and we're talking Taka Arashi. So a big selling point of Virtua Fighter 3 was all sorts of physics and weight. And you can see here Taka just kind of stepping between the various rafts. Him just moving around moves things a lot, and a lot more than other characters. Taka is a very, very big boy, to the point where like many Virtua Fighter mechanics classically have just different rules for him. Like a move that works one way on literally every character in the game doesn't work the same on Taka because he's so big, people struggle to lift him. They'll just like fall over while doing the move. And part of the introduction of physics into Virtua Fighter 3 also is the introduction of weight. And Taka, well, weighs the most of all the characters. And it has a lot to do with that boat you see in the background. So if you can get Taka to the edge of the boat, well, the weight and the physics sort of take over. He's the heaviest character, physics matter. And then the boat starts flipping over, and the game didn't necessarily ever account for that being a thing. So the game gets really weird really fast. Those traditional sumo leg techniques for exercise where you flip them up over your head when break all your bones. I guess Taka is a big fan of that. So basically, thanks to the introduction of physics, this was the 90s, this was a newer concept, right? Thanks to the introduction of physics, Taka is so heavy he can flip over part of the stage that was not ever meant to be detached, and then things just start getting really weird. Like, you can move around a little bit, the phantom stage still persists to a degree, but move out too far and then, hey, ring out. Now, this being based on weight, if you take the next two heaviest characters combined, Wolf and Jeffrey, and you put them both on the edge of the boat, you can also flip the boat and then cause some oddities as well, but you need both of them. Taka, since he's such a big boy, he can trigger it all by himself. That's the power of, weight, I guess. Got some big time Doskoi energy, as it were. Regular characters, they don't weigh enough, so they can never flip the boat. It was such an interesting experiment that he never showed up again in Virtua Fighter 4, and only much later in later revisions of Virtua Fighter 5, because they just didn't know what to do with the boy. Basically, Taka's so fat, he can warp reality. Now, let's go from fun physics glitch to legitimate game breakers. So we moved to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, no stranger to the glitches. And let's talk about a true classic, the Gambit glitch. What is the Gambit glitch? Well, there you go. So Gambit, he kind of flies off the screen, right? And no, he is never, ever coming back. To the point here, let's fast forward the round a little bit. Here we are, time's literally running out, and Gambit ain't nowhere to be found. In fact, once the bell rings, since we had more health than the enemy, we automatically win. That's one of the things about the Gambit glitch. If you have more health than the enemy when you pull it off, you're gonna win the game, because you'll win by having more health. Is it dirty? Is it cheap? You betcha. That's just kind of how it works. And actually, how does it work? It's actually dirt easy. All you have to do is a snapback, which uses assist 2. And then while you're doing snapback, hold down to charge his Cajun Strike, which is sort of like a flash kick style move. Hold down, then up. And after the snapback's done, while you're holding down, just hit up and kick, and bingo bango bongo, he flies off the screen, and that's the end of the match. There's a reason why this one's a classic, because it's super easy to do. Now, let's talk another classic, the Ruby Heart glitch. So, on essence, on paper, it's actually somewhat similar in that if you do it correctly, she can just fly off the screen. She has a charge move that can do multiple follow-ups, and all you have to do while doing the follow-ups is hold down the taunt button, and in the base arcade version, taunt is the start button. And then, do it once while holding the taunt, and eventually, you're just going to fly off into some wacky directions. Usually there's going to be some element of visual glitch attached to it. Like sometimes you might see a different character's foot, sometimes you might see a barrel, sometimes she'll just literally teleport off the screen. Sometimes she's off screen for a few seconds, sometimes she can be off screen for up to 10 full seconds. She'll always return in the end, unlike Gambit. But there's one extra devious part of this glitch. If it was just the movement stuff, that'd be alright. As silly as it is, it's fun to mess around with. But then there's this, and maybe speaker warning. So in doing the Ruby Heart glitch, you can just outright hard crash the game. Not a silly movement trick, not a timeout scam, you just end the game dead on the spot. Like you have to do a full restart of the game. You've lost control of everything. And how do we do this? Well, it's a lot less scientific. You still have to hold start, but you basically just kind of got to mash all the directions and kind of go from there. I've never read a satisfactory way to do it and replicate it 100% of the time. Like the base glitch, hold start, hold taunt, do quarter circle forward one of your punches, and then just kind of keep mashing punch and directions while holding start, and eventually you'll crash the game. And of course, for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, these are just two glitches of a lot. We can make a whole video on it. Now let's move on to the King of Fighters. Now, the King of Fighters is a franchise with more than its fair share of glitches. Now, this is another deal where I can make a whole non-stop video on just King of Fighters glitches. But for now, we're going to talk the King of Fighters 95, as it has one of my favorites. Now, you might notice here I'm showing some of the stage intros. KOF 95, lots of stages that have a very dramatic opening to the stage before we get to the actual fight. And on the Italy stage in particular, you both start on the dock, and as the fight begins, you both do a dramatic jump off the dock, go into the water, and then you have your fight there. And it's very cool like that, right? Very interesting. The problem with that is, you jumping to the ground is kind of based off your character's actual jump arcs. Notice Mai actually hits the ground just a split second later than Iori does. Not a big deal, and for the majority of the cast, this is a non-issue, right? but it does matter for one character. Enter Chin Gensai. Chin, he's got a problem here. If Mai had a bit of a discrepancy, Chin's got a whole-on problem. Notice how much later he hits the ground. And when the first player touches the ground is exactly when the fight starts, just so you know. And Iori hits the ground first, and what this means, well, it means bad news for Chin. Very literally, before the round even starts for Chin, Iori can hit him. The player who controls Chin has no say in this. This is an exact free hit for Iori. And it gets a lot worse because very famously in the King of Fighters 95, Iori can air juggle off his Rekka series and do so over and over and over again to where, as you can see, I can land 85% of Chin's life before he's even allowed to play the game. Now you're probably sitting at home, hey, wait a second, that's not fair at all, and funnily enough, no, it isn't. It's not fair. But the exact problem is Chin can't do anything about it. He can't hold block until he touches the ground, and Iori gets to start the round before him on this specific stage only. There's just nothing you can do about it. Iori gets free damage. Due to the nature of his moveset, he can reach and cover the ground fast enough before Chin can, hit up the ground. Other characters don't necessarily get the same amount of guaranteed damage that Iori does. And basically sucks for Chin. Also, light Rekka for Iori at the exact right angles is also a true infinite. In my testing, I can only get a mere 85% damage. If you want to get the actual true instant death infinite, I think it's going to be frame perfect or something like that. But you know what? 85% damage at the start of the round the enemy can't do anything about, I think is pretty okay. It's a good deal for Iori. It's just one of those deals where a glitch gets hyper specific. It's only Iori versus only Chin, only on this stage, and it's only a thing because Chin jumps off the dock really weird compared to the other characters. Only thing that can be said is, sucks for him. And for the last major glitch I would like to cover in this video, we're going to go to the land of Capcom versus SNK 2. Legendary game and, well, legendary glitch. Because this glitch is maybe just about one of the most foundational important fighting game glitches ever, as it got graduated into competitive gameplay. No. This never got banned. This never stopped in any way. This is what the game became. And I'm talking about the infamous roll cancel glitch. So in Capcom vs SNK 2, we have the groove system. We have CAP grooves representing Capcom, SNK grooves representing SNK. And the different grooves just give you a variety of different abilities to work with, right? It's at the heart of the game. And some grooves have the roll. And the concept of the roll is simple enough. It's what you would find in many different King of Fighters games, for example. The idea of the roll just is that it lets you roll past stuff. If you get hit by fireballs, you're getting zoned out, well, screw it. I can roll through it, right? The roll has a very generous amount of invincibility. The one weakness is if you get called out, you can still get thrown out of it. But if you're avoiding very obvious attacks, say a projectile, or even certain strikes, it is strike invincible, you can just kind of go past it. And the heart of the roll cancel glitch is you can give any move in the game the property of a roll. You can see here Mai is going to do Ryuenbu, and Ryu's fireball just goes clear through her. It's not clashing, she's invincible to the projectile. And that means since we roll canceled the move, it has all the properties of the roll, of which includes full invincibility. And I'm talking 20 plus frames of invincibility, and you can apply this to every move in the game. It's not the easiest, the timing's tight. You can notice here, you can see me roll for a single frame before I go into the move. It's really as simple as before you do any given move, make sure you hit roll before you hit the button, and the roll cancels out into the move with the properties of the roll, aka the invincibility. So it's a very character-defining, match-defining, gameplay-defining mechanic, to say the least. So let me show you some of its practical uses and why it's so strong. Let's take a very common fighting game scenario. I want in, but the nasty guy throwing fireballs won't let me in. And, I'm E Honda. I wish I could headbutt my way through the fireballs, but it just isn't working. Sucks for me. Unless, what if I could just headbutt through the fireball? Thanks to roll canceling my headbutt here, and we're going very slow because I just want you to see this frame by frame. There's the roll. Oh, and now it's canceled into the headbutt. Now I can clearly go through that fireball, no big deal, thanks to the fact I now have the invincible property of the roll on my headbutt. And now Nasty Man Sagat gets bopped on the other side of things. Pretty strong technique. Let me give you another example. Someone like Vice. Vice doesn't have a traditional Shoryuken or something, right? So if I want to anti-air someone, I kind of got to settle for crouch heavy punch, which is all right. If I'm on the ball, I'll win, but sometimes it trades, or if I'm a little slow, I lose. That sucks. I don't want to lose. I want to win. So let's bring in some roll cancels. Roll canceling any move makes it invincible, right? So if I roll cancel my shoulder, now that becomes anti-air because it's invincible against Terry's kick. I'm rolling. I can't get hit by the kick. Terry gets bopped on the other end of things. End of story. Every special move in the game is now an anti-air because with roll canceling, every special move in the game is invincible. So basically the applications are just about endless. It completely defines what the game is. Wow, so that's crazy. So all the grooves with rolls must run the game, right? Well, no, actually they don't. Like K-Groove is a perfectly good groove. It gives you short hops King of Fighters style, which is extra strong in a Capcom styled game. When you're in rage mode, you do more damage, you take less damage. You got those big juicy rage bonus level 3 supers that do a lot of damage. You get Just Defend, which is basically better parry, and no groove with a roll gets Just Defend. It builds your meter when you do it, also heals you a little bit. Like, funnily enough, for the kind of game it is, roll canceling seems very strong, and it is very strong, but it's balanced by the fact that it's actually very difficult to do consistently. Like, yes, you just do the move, and right before you do the move, you roll. Sure, but you only have a window of a couple frames, and that's very tight. And, you know, some moves are easier than other due to the nature of the motions and all that, right? And if you practice a lot, you can get more consistent, but yeah, it's not always a guarantee. And frankly, if roll canceling wasn't a thing, K-Groove would basically just run the game. Instead, you have a variety of options to work with. But still, a very foundational glitch as it changed the entire landscape of this game's lifespan. Someone figured it out one day and then the game was never the same again. And my friends, that is the video. So I hope you enjoyed the topic. We're doing something a little bit different this time around. Maybe if there's enough interest, it's something we can revisit in the future. But for now, that is indeed the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.